Hello, welcome to my channel. Happy New Year! I'm John Hartledge. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite examples of Italian Prosecco. Yes, we're going to talk bubbly today. Italian Prosecco, the Nino Franco Rustico Prosecco from Valdobbiadene, Veneto, Italy. Fabulous, I just love how that all rolls off the tongue. But we're not just going to talk bubbly, we're actually going to make a mimosa right here together. I can't wait. Let's chat wine. So talking bubbly. Now, a lot of times, people think, all right, I've got to spend $40, $50, $60 on a bottle of champagne. Yes, you can. Typically, the retailers will sell champagne and sparkling wines at this time of year pretty close to cost. So between Thanksgiving and even just after New Year's, it's the best time to buy sparkling wine because you load into all this stock, and once you get to mid-January, there isn't really a big event except little things like Valentine's and birthdays, but the big holidays are over for a little while, so most of the stores have an over surplus, so they will try to really get rid and move their sparkling wines. It's a great time of year to buy it, but you don't have to spend 40 bucks. You don't have to spend 60 bucks. You don't even have to spend 30. About $20 retail, and done in a style that's slightly different than champagne, but fabulous. And it delivers, what I like about Prosecco, it's almost a blank slate. That's why the mimosa became so popular. That's why the Bellini or the Aperol or the Venetian Spritz, which uses Aperol and the famous Italian bitters kind of a aperitif, and uses that in Prosecco. But that's why those are very popular, because Prosecco provides this little bit of a blank slate, simple, I don't want to say plain, but there's just not a huge, big yeasty flavor. So it blends well with other things. Why isn't it yeasty? Because Prosecco is produced with a technique that's called charmat. Charmat basically means a big bin. With champagne, or real champagne-style sparkling wine, you actually ferment the wine in the bottle. So the yeast is in contact with the wine the whole time. There's a much less amount of liquid, so you really taste the yeast in the actual flavor, and you want to. But with Prosecco, it's done in a vat, so the yeast isn't as in close contact. You're not infusing that yeasty, big bread flavor, bready, yeasty flavor into the wine. So it's much more of a neat kind of palate to use for other flavors. So that's what I love about this. This happens to be one of the best in Italy, and it's given a rating. You'll see sometimes on the DOCG wines, particularly DOCG, they'll have a tag, or the Chianti wines, they'll have the rooster and the little tab around the label. That DOCG is one of the highest ratings you can get in Italy as far as originality and real source of the grape or the style. So in this area of Veneto, really small area in northeast Italy, Valdobbiadene, one of 3 areas in the Veneto where you can be DOCG Prosecco. Prosecco can be produced in 3 forms, either tranquillo, which is still no bubbles. It can be frizzante, like a Moscato, a little bit of sparkle, but that sparkle goes away quick, or spumante, and this is spumante. It will bubble the whole time. So we're gonna open it. We're gonna taste it without doing anything to it because it's an interesting wine. The grape is called the Gala grape. It's not, certainly in our market, it's not very common to find Gala as a still wine. We typically see Gala in its form as a Prosecco. And there are a number of other white grapes that are allowed in that region to be used. But if you're DOCG and you're one of the original areas, it's pretty much secure that you're going to be using 100% Gala grape. You may use a little Pinot Noir produced white if you want to, influence a little more towards champagne. But typically you're going to use the Gala grape. So, so I start that cork, but I'm really careful once that cork starts. There's a lot of pressure, just like a champagne. And you gotta be careful, always making sure the palm of your hand is over that cork. If you leave that, it's gonna whoop, and if you have the point in the wrong direction, you really could hurt somebody. You might damage some furniture. So definitely keep that palm over it, and you see it start to loosen, then it starts to push toward you, then you can do this really easy. Just let the pressure lift. Don't let it pop. Just a little hiss. And then it clears very nicely. And another tidbit. Make sure it's chilled before you open it. If you open a wine, so a lot of times if it's not chilled, you take the cage off and a cork is going because you want it to be chilled. That kind of keeps it a little more calm. So let's taste it first and see. Oh, that's beautiful. And this will keep bubbling, both because the glass itself has some imperfections. And there's imperfections with any sparkling wine because this was, they didn't add fermentation. The fermentation was done in a vessel, but in a large vessel, as I said. So the carbonation is inert. Carbonation is in there, and what helps the carbonation get out are little imperfections in the glass and other things that you may add. So let's taste this first. Oh, it's beautiful. So it's not going to be big yeast in the nose, not big yeast in the flavor, a little more like pear and delicate pear type fruits. Beautiful. 11% alcohol. So when you look at the label, you think 11%, it's like a Cabernet Riesling. You think, oh, this is going to be a little sweet. No, I wouldn't call it a brut. I would call it an extra dry, which it's confusing sometimes, but extra dry actually means not as dry as brut. But it's not sweet. I would never call it sweet. But this is going to make a beautiful cocktail. So we're going to go here. Now, I've got a little squeezer and a little fresh orange. You don't need a whole lot of orange juice, so it's always fun to go fresh. So let's first go here with a little bit of our sparkling wine. And then, now, I know a lot of folks nowadays don't want any sugar, but a little powdered sugar just feels right. And it also sets up a nucleation point within the liquid to keep it bubbling. So you get a little of that powdered sugar in there. And that, oh yes, beautiful. That's going to keep it bubbling. And then, to bring out the orange flavor, mimosa is basically sparkling wine with orange. I'm going to use a little of this beautiful liqueur from Canada called Gran Gala. And it's a blend of VSOP brandy from Italy and orange liqueur. Now Brandy, why Brandy? Because brandy is based in wine. Brandy is basically a distilled wine. So you have grape, and also Italian roots to that, even though it's from Canada. So they imported Italian brandy and blended it with beautiful orange liqueur. We're gonna take a little orange juice. So we're just gonna juice a little of this here. I love the old-fashioned, basically an old-fashioned style juicer. A little juice, and what I always have to remember is which side, because you have the sieve there, and if you pour from this side, you're just gonna get all the pulp. Here's a nice little clear. Get a little of that in there. Beautiful. See how it fizzed up a little more too when you put that in there? Big nucleation point. And we're just going to top it with a little fizz. Oh, look at that bubble on top. That's just beautiful with the bubbling. So I'm going to take the orange here, and you can do it this way. I get the end off there, so cut the end off. You have a nice circle so that all the flesh is visible. And a nice disc, and let's cut it once. And let's say, yeah, that looks nice. Get just a little bit of a cut on the side. And you can just have it like that. So whether you drop it in, I actually don't mind dropping in, and then it continues to release orange, and then maybe put one on top of it. Wow, that's pretty. You can even do a little sugar on the rim if you like. But I think enough sugar was what we just added. So then, the guest gets the orange, maybe plays with the orange just a little bit, and maybe just whoop, beautiful. And then the taste, and the smell is so vibrant from that fresh cut, slice of orange. Simple, delicious. I'm not hit with a more of acidic, pasteurized approach to the juice. It's just that really fresh squeeze and beautiful aromatics. That little bit of sugar just rounds it out. It almost gives a texture on the palate. Just love it. Cheers. Thank you for joining me for this fun episode. It was really an example of where mixology meets wine. Periodically, we'll do a mixology episode. Don't be afraid to leave a comment below if you've got some interesting ideas along those lines. This was certainly a lot of fun for me. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell, because then you won't miss any future episodes. Join me again. Let's chat wine.